active transport is when a certain ion moves from a low concentration of said ion to a higher concentration of that ion. So for instance, the sodium ion right here is in a lower concentration because there's only one compared to this where there's 5 of the sodiums. So it moves from the 1 sodium to the 5. So that is going against the concentration gradient. And so in order to do this, because usually it goes with a concentration gradient without any energy, you do need some energy. So ATP is needed in order for the ion to go against the concentration gradient.
And so an example of active transport is the sodium-potassium pump, as shown here. So the blue represents the sodium, and the orange represents the potassium. And for every three sodium that leaves the cell, you have 2 potassium that enters the cell. And so the process starts off, in this example, the shape of the protein has an affinity for the 3 sodium ions. So then 3 sodium ions bind to the shapes that provided, and this activates the phosphorylation by ATP, which provides energy to change the shape of the cell, as shown here, and then the 3 sodium ions are able to leave the cell.
When the 3 sodium ions leave the cell, it leaves the protein with an affinity for potassium, and when the potassium binds, it triggers the potassium to leave, the phosphate to leave the protein, which gives the energy for the protein to change shape, and then all of the potassium binds to the protein, and then after it changes shape, the potassium leaves the cell, which then gives the protein an affinity for sodium, and the cycle repeats itself over and over again.